Oh, what's good, everyone? Welcome into Chatterbox Bearcats, the midweek edition. A lot to get into in a little bit of time. Houdini, Nick Niehaus. We may be completing the four-man weave with Eric Lilly. He's dealing with a pineapple issue right now, an allergic reaction to a pineapple, very vague. However, he may be on the show in just a little bit to break down a few things. We'll talk some Cincinnati Bearcats roster construction hoop stuff. The bigger news, Jizzle James to the NBA draft and Carrington Cross, Big 12 Player of the Year. We'll break that down. Lily, you better hurry up and get your ass on the show if we're breaking down Carrington Cross stats on today's program. He's our baseball correspondent. But let's start with the big news. Jizzle James posts an Instagram today that had about 15 different pictures. All of them were pretty normal until you get to the end of the slide and respect to the person that swiped through 15 of these to find the picture. But it was an NBA draft post saying, "Thank you, Cincinnati. I'll always be a Bearcat. 2025, I've decided to enter my name into the NBA draft." One issue, that deadline was at the end of April. He is not entering the NBA draft. What the hell is going on? Houdini, I think you kind of got a breakdown of this. What the hell is going on with Jizzle James? Is he going to the NBA?
No. I mean, quite literally, he cannot do that. I thought it was very interesting. So if you notice, he deleted it almost immediately, then claimed his phone was hacked. Just the classic. I mean, it's a huge invasion of privacy. We feel terrible for him that he had his personal Instagram hacked and they randomly declared him to the NBA draft. But I didn't get it. Lilly, he'll be able to defend himself in a second. He's like, "Oh, no, this was a perfect troll job." I was like, what? Everyone's confused. So apparently, and listen, we all, maybe he just accidentally hit the wrong picture, which was still kind of weird that, we knew he was coming back because the portal entry deadline already passed. The NBA draft deadline already passed. So I didn't really understand it. And then, as far as, the troll job. So he screenshotted some of our, most hated comment guys, the reply guys, right? He screenshotted a lot of those guys saying, "Get out of town, Jizzle James." And this was from 2 months or 3 months ago. This was in February, these tweets. So I don't know if he's just been stewing on this, thinking maybe this was the right time to come out and declare to the NBA draft. It didn't make sense. When people say, if a joke, you have to explain it, it's not that good of a joke. Nobody understands what's happening right now. So I don't get it. So I just moved Kirk Kriisa as my starting point guard. I just took over Jizzle's spot.
Yeah, I mean, I figured we would somehow make this montage as it would go on. There surely was something we said, but maybe not in writing. Maybe it's only in video format. And for me personally, I will forever have the pass of being a Jizzle James guy because he's Jizz Morant, and I'll always have that take tied to me. So despite what I say when times are the lowest with Jizzle and we got a roller coaster ride, I'll always have that tied to me, to where I literally compared him to one of the bounciest, most explosive, most fun players in the NBA and the history of the NBA, truly. So Eric Lilly joins the program. This is our Carrington Cross guy who we'll get to in just a bit. But Lilly, you get to take the stage here before we toss it over to Niehaus on Jizzle James heading to the NBA draft. I still believe it, Lilly. There's been no confirmation that he's not going.
Yeah, I'm being told the Utah Jazz are going to take him at number 5. And, I thought we were getting Cooper Flagg about a week ago, and instead we're getting Jizzle. But I think we'll figure it out. He's got some athleticism, shades of Ja Morant. But seriously, guys, this is one of the dumbest things that we've ever, I had 50 text messages in a 3-minute span, and everyone knew within about 5 minutes that it wasn't real, but we were still panicking because we're what is going on? This is one of the weirder things. And I missed what you guys have already talked about, but do any of you have a strong take on what exactly happened here? Because I kind of do.
I mean, I floated out that maybe he accidentally, he was really supposed to just post that he was coming back, even though the portal deadline was a while ago anyway. So I didn't really get it, but that's
he's already posted that. He's already confirmed that he's coming back.
Maybe he just added the slide on accident.
He had the slide.
He just fat fingered it. But then to claim the hacking, if it was a troll job, it's F- in my book.
I mean, we've seen Jay Williams do this in the past when he made the erroneous comment about the Boston Celtics hiring their first African-American coach, when literally you could point to a few years prior and say Doc Rivers literally won a championship there. And Jay Williams, instead of coming out and just saying like, oh yeah, he did. I completely forgot. Sorry about that. Instead, he was like, I was hacked. I was hacked with this very specific comment. So when in doubt, folks, if your character's in question, I was hacked. It works every single time.
I think the best part, Chuck, you briefly mentioned, is that none of us made the screenshot of him calling us out. Like, somebody even replied and tagged us and said, I can't believe you guys weren't called out.
No, on the Wes Miller, when he makes it and they go to the well and we get our guy that's on the video team that snips some clips from the show, when he says his first, like, thank you to those that doubted me, because he says he's got it in the mailbag. He's ready to pull it out as soon as the Bearcats make the Final Four this season. He's like, thank you to those who doubted me. And in that video, it's just going to be takes of us going nuts. Like, we don't need Wes. Put in the shot doctor to be running the offense. Like,
Well, there's definitely other comments and that are cracking me up where, like, let's hope this NBA aspiration goes better than the last one who went public around this time last year, aka Dan Skilling. So I saw that comment. Pretty sure that was Jizzle James enthusiast on Twitter. So we got takes flying left and right on Twitter all about this. People getting called out from months ago. I can't wait for one of our tweets just to make a UC montage, like you just said, Chuck.
Chuck's going to be all over that hype reel when we start like 12-0 and there's like a minute 23-second video and like the beginning of it's just like the doubters and the haters, and then it pivots to like Jizzle dunking on someone and Wes is like this in the background. Chuck's going to be all over that.
Is this
yeah, for the Jizzle love that I have, when they're talking about him being an All-American. I told Ice Cube on this program that Jizzle James is going to be an All-American. I have a pass when it comes to Jizzle, for God's sakes. I mean,
we love Jizzle, right? We love Jizzle. We love that he's returning. This like struck me is just the fact that it was a Tuesday, like in the afternoon. Like this sounded like something, after a few Modelo's, you're feeling pretty good. You fire something out at midnight, but that wasn't the case. It was mid-afternoon. I'm just wondering, is this the new standard? Like if, Sincere Harris has a bad game and we have, some tweets like, I think Sincere Harris's minutes should be reduced and he just declares for the NBA draft for 8 minutes in the middle of the season. Like it makes no sense. Hey, but at least, worst case scenario, it gives us some talking points. Because we were like, hell, a whole lot of news hasn't broken, but Jizzle James just entered the draft a month after he even can. So here we are.
It's beautiful clickbait. It's like he's helping out the Chatterbox Bearcats team because you could throw it as the thumbnail. You get people to join for the program. Welcome. If you're just now tuning into Chatterbox Bearcats, we're on audio podcast too on YouTube and live on the YouTube page, Chatterbox Sports. Lily, Niehaus, Houdini, and Chuck with you. We'll be here all season, football and basketball. Hit that subscribe page. But yeah, gives us the clickbait to get right into it, but we clear it up that he cannot literally go to the NBA. Lily did the research like he always does. He did not declare. Therefore, it's an impossibility. Could he be going to some sort of G League thing? No, it's not happening. He's a Cincinnati Bearcat. Enough is enough there. Unless anyone has any objections and wants to talk about this further, I'll give you the floor. Anyone? We move on. Thumbs up. Yes. All right. Roster construction time. Jalen Haynes is being slept on, folks. I was sent a video of Haynes against Duke, putting the ball on the floor, hitting the mid-range jumper, looking powerful, looking kind of quick for his size. Why are we all just assuming that Jalen Haynes is just going to kind of be like a piece? He looked really, really good against one of the best teams in the country. Let's start with you, Danny.
I know. I almost feel like he got kind of lost in the mix after the Chom and then the Baba Miller. It was probably really just due to timing of when we got him, because now people are even more ecstatic with, Chom was obviously the big fish out there. But Jalen Haynes, I think he's got to be a massive, massive part of this, because we didn't even talk about this when we got Baba Miller, but he's also another guy that you don't see a ton of back to the basket moves. Jalen Haynes is like a true big that puts his back to the basket and can make moves in the post. And we haven't seen that in a long time. Like, Victor Locken had those flashes, and then, it ended up not working out. Big fan of the program. We still love you, Vic.
What's that line that Popovich gave about the caboose? About a big man with a big caboose?
I think that might have been about DeJuan Blair. Didn't he say, like, that's the number one thing he looks at as far as a prospect? He's like, if they got a big ass, man, he goes, that's a guy I want on my squad. Jalen Haynes is that, okay? Big slime, I think, is going to be a big part of this offense. He might even be a guy that they have to go to create offense. Like, he might be a pretty big, because we still don't have that, like, go-to. I know Jizzle James, obviously, if Abayev works out there. But he might be a guy that you're actually feeding the rock to score. So I think he's going to be a huge part of it. I think he just got lost in the mix a little bit.
Niehaus, your thoughts on Big Slime?
I think it's just because he didn't play a single minute at the 4 last season. Like, I think if he had some minutes at the 5 and the 4, like, the narrative would be different than he's just going to be behind Chom. Like, the whole thing was like, before we got Baba Millers, we don't have a true 4. Then we got Baba, and now Jalen Haynes is just automatically a backup, even though he's only 6'8". So you can't, I mean, in theory, he has the size of a 4. So why can't he be a 4? But I think that's why people are sleeping on him. I think that's really it, because he is our only back to the basket guy.
No, he looked good, man. Looked good. First team All Atlantic 10. Lily, what are the chances that it's gonna be hard, but Baba Miller at 6'11" could somehow play the 3 with a lineup that allowed you to go Chom, Haynes, Baba Miller? Because defensively, you'd be all right. It's the offensive side of the ball. Like, do you have not even the space, more so just like the ball handling abilities to make a lineup like that work? Is Baba Miller that dude that could actually fit in that sort of scenario? Or is that something that we think takes us to the Final Four against Kennesaw State early in the season, and then West tries it midway through the year and the pitchforks are back because it's the dumbest thing we've ever seen?
I think if we see that, it's because Baba is just way better than we thought he would be. And, you see a lot of variance on Baba takes. Like, I see some people saying he's not going to start. And in my head, it's like he is 100% starting at the 4. That's how I look at it. Haynes is the one, I think it was Houdini just said, he's got the height of the 4, the size of the 4. He actually is a decent passer. And, you want a power forward who can get it back outside if things go wrong. Baba would really have to take a leap in terms of his playmaking, I think, to be the 3. So, but in terms of Haynes, he has been forgotten a little, but I still think he's very clearly like an important part of this team. Just think of the last couple of years. We've had some big men, but he is far and away the best backup big we've had, right? Like, even if he doesn't fully translate to the Big 12, he is a proven 5, and he gets buckets. He's got the attitude. He can dribble a little. He can rebound. He can pass. Shot a couple threes. I'm excited for him, but I don't think he's not going to start over Chom, right? Like, I just think he's going to be a perfect backup big.
How about one of our backup ball handlers, potentially, or someone that could fit the mold of a red shirt when you have all the point guards that the Cats do, which in total is 3. It's Kirk Kriisa, it's Jizzle, maybe Jizzle. Maybe he's going to the Jazz. I don't know. Or if Wimmer gets his way, he's going to the Shanghai Sharks. That's what apparently he was sitting on for the last 4 months. So we got a Wimmer bomb. Anyways, Keshan Tillery, point guard position, could be prime option for a red shirt. Niehaus posts a clip of him. Was that an outdoor? Was he playing basketball outdoors? Like that's your first issue there. You can never judge tape of someone playing outdoors unless it's Stevenson at Rucker Park. But Tillery's got a little pop to him. The shot didn't look beautiful by any means. Whenever you see a highlight reel of a shot that just gets stuck on the back of the rim and just kind of drops in, like one of those excuse me shots, you know that he's probably not the most polished shooter at this point, but he looks quick. He looks scrappy, looks like he can handle the ball, smart, and looks like he can hold people accountable from a super young age. Houdini, where do you see him fitting in this upcoming season? Or do you see him just using a red shirt like many freshmen in the past?
I feel like redshirting is almost a thing of the past. I know we saw it with Rayvon Griffith, but I don't think that that's going to be the path for Tillery. Like you said, he's one of the best recruits we've had in a long time. And I do think, as far as we're looking at the depth of this roster, just like we did last year, I think there's going to be an avenue for him to get at least some minutes, especially if he's a true one and you play Jizzle a little bit more at the 2 spot, which I hope we do to some extent. I know there's some debate there, but I would think you got to test the waters with Tillery to see if he's going to bring some, because he's in my all dog lineup once we get into that. Because the guy is a ferocious defender as well. So I
elaborate. All dog lineup. Sincere's in there, obviously. Jalen's got to be in there.
Yeah, so all dog lineup. I'm actually, I'm going to put Tillery at the 1 in this spot, Day Thomas at the 2, Sincere or Buck Harris at the 3, Big Slime at the 4, and Chom at the 5. Just because Chom has to play the 5. There's no other lineup in which Chom is not in it. But that's my all dog lineup. If we're down 15, they're not showing effort. That's who you throw out there. Let the dogs at him. Okay. But yeah, I think Tillery's going to find an avenue. I think there's going to be, there could be injuries. Creesa has certainly shown that he's been injured in the past. So I think that you have to have a guy like Tillery as a backup 1 out there, or at least an option coming in at that 1 spot.
Niehaus, you were the one that posted it, so I'll give you the opportunity to respond. You asked if we're all sleeping on Keshan Tillery. Look, I love the tape. I love everything I've heard about him in terms of like the type of leadership that he brings and the Bearcat quality and stuff. But I've seen many freshman point guards come through this program in the past, and outside of the name, like Devin Downey and Jizzle James to some degree, right? There aren't many that played a role on teams that already had established point guards. Now, recency bias, Kashmir Wright, Troy Copain, like the list goes on and on of players that actually did get minutes. In fact, I would say more did than didn't at that point guard position. But I don't know. It seems a little difficult to see a path to the floor with all the different players in front of him at the guard position. Defensively could be his ticket one way or the other. If he's ready to guard Big 12 point guards, then he's going to see the floor. If he's a work in progress defensively, I don't see any way that he sees the floor this season.
Yeah, I think it's just a tough time for freshmen in general because you have, how old is Chad Baker Mazzara? He's 26 years old? Like, you still have some of these guys that thankfully the COVID year is finally running out. But like the new thing is like playing 9 games, faking an injury, and then getting a medical red shirt. Well, that's what guys are doing nowadays, allegedly, right? So I think it's just tough to not be a blue chip 5-star guy as a freshman and see 10, 20 minutes. So the thing about him, though, that you read up on is that he's a leader and he's a winner and he is a dog. You're right, though, Chuck. His shot, I don't want to like dog on him before he even steps foot in Clifton, but like he has a very high school shot, like if that makes sense. Like it doesn't look very polished. It looks like it's a shot that goes in high school, but doesn't translate to college. But who cares? He still has all of the other packages, everything else to be a good point guard in Clifton. And who knows, maybe the shot doctor will, that'll be his first real victory in a Bearcat uniform. So I'm high on him. I'm definitely not sleeping on him. I think he's going to be really good as a freshman. How many minutes can you really see? I really don't know. No more than 10, I would feel safe saying.
All right, Niehaus set the over-under on minutes at 10.5. You taking that over, that under, Lily?
I'm going to go under, but I don't think he's going to redshirt. I think like we'll see a little of him in out-of-conference play. I think it'd be really smart to kind of manage Creesa because, he's not like CJ Frederick level of fragile, but you don't want him playing 30 minutes a game versus, the out-of-conference opponents that we tend to see in Clifton. But you also want him to be ready in case there is an injury. Like you want him to have some reps. And I think he is day one ready in terms of competitiveness, maybe defense. His size is kind of a question. So I hesitate to say he will be like an impact defender day one, but long term, he definitely seems like someone that'll be a good defender in the way like Day is, like kind of strong for his size. But yeah, I think just one of those guys, get him reps when you can, and then you never know when you'll have to turn to him. I'm taking the under though.
All right, Niehaus, it's your turn to be the conductor of the show. I wish I had a nice hat to give you. I wish I could gift you my whistle. I have nothing aside from the floor is yours for the mailbag portion of the show. That's your baby, man.
Well,
It's your
Chuck,
baby.
it is my baby. Thank you. Before I want to let's talk Carrington Cross since Lily's here. So, well, we got baseball Big 12 Player of the Year, Carrington Cross. That's huge news. Lily, break us down kind of the year he's had. I have the stats in front of us if you want me to just keep going, but well, what's
Monster
your take on the
year.
whole?
Yeah, I actually thought the Kansas guy, not expecting anybody to know who he is, but his name's Brady Ballinger. And I looked him up last night because I saw some people saying he was going to win. And his numbers are just slightly worse than Cross's. But Kansas is in second. So all day I'm thinking, that guy's going to win. His team's in second place and his numbers are a little worse than Cross, but very happy. I thought it was a significant enough gap to where Cross was obviously had a better season. He had better average, better on base percentage. It's just Cross got him. Ballinger got him a little on RBIs and home runs, which, sometimes those are team stats in terms of like how many guys are on base, right, when you get up. But happy Cross won it. That's awesome. And there's some other guys too here. We had a all freshman Quentin Coates, Jack Natili, our catcher, has just had a breakout year. He's on the second team. And a couple honorable mentions, Kellen O'Connor, Nathan Taylor had a huge year pitching, and Landon Vitorek, who probably got hosed there. I think he should have been second team Big 12. He had a monster year. So great job by the baseball Bearcats. We got first pitch tomorrow at 1:30 p.m.
Everybody has us in the tournament as a lock, it seems, the NCAA tournament. Now, he is the fifth Bearcat ever to win Conference Player of the Year. Baseball, of course, Chris Holt, Josh Harrison, Ian Happ, and Griffin Merritt. Well, yeah, let's get to the mailbag, Chuck. So first one, Houdini mentioned his all-dog lineup. We got predictions for the starting lineup. Now, this has been a question that we've gotten a lot, but obviously now that the roster is set, we can ask it again. So, Chuck, let's see your prediction for the starting lineup this year, and any other just lineups you would like to see.
I'll go Jizzle James, Sincere Harris, Sean Abayev, Baba, and Cham. I'll go with those five. If it was the Jizzle Day combo, I wouldn't be shocked, but I want some defense out there. And I feel like with Celestine's, not Celestine, but Sincere Buck Harris's on-ball pressure with the rim protection of the weak side rim protection and Baba, and then just on the ball, blocking shots like crazy, not letting anyone get by him on the post. Cham, I feel like you're locking up right there. Day / Jizzle. They get it done defensively, specifically if you wanted to go Day in that lineup. And then I think you just need a buy of shooting. But I could see Celestine being one of those guys that slides in there. I have no idea with what he's going to do. All I know is that John Rothstein's wrong. Every single one of these lineups that he has that comes out. I mean, he said Odio Guamo was going to be our starting four, I think, a year or two ago, and that was not the case. At least I don't think for much of the season. So I'm going to fade whatever Rothstein comes out with. I'll check his projected top 36, see where we are, and I'll see what his starting five is, and I'll base it off that.
He had Kreese at small forward, the first one.
Anybody have any does anybody agree with Chuck completely or one off? Lily or Houdini?
I feel like I changed we've had this a couple times now, right? I feel like I keep changing what I say, but Cham is the only lock, right? So to me, Baba's a lock. So those are the four.
We're acting like Abayev's a lock, but he's probably the most risky of all of them. Being a freshman, who knows physically and how he handles the rock and how he plays defense. He could easily be the one that doesn't make any sense. And then you got either Sincere or Celestine at your three, probably Celestine.
Yeah, and I could see coaches being like, we don't really want Jizzle and Abayev on the court a lot together because they both, those are guys that need the rock in their hand, get their shots up, get in those spots. So I did say Abayev last time, but I'm going to go Jizzle at the 1. I know that's controversial to some still. I'm going Jizzle at the 1, Harris at the 2, Celestine at 3, Baba and Cham. That's my newest. But again, we keep changing. Like it's a fun exercise. Like you can't even crap on anybody because there's so many different variations we can do.
Yeah, and that's the PTSD portion of this, because we've been doing this whole kit and caboodle for the last couple of years where it's like, we got 8 starters. Tell us, Fran Fraschilla, how many starters we have in the Big 12. So that'll never not horrify me. Houdini, you feeling like we have a solid 5, or are you going to go with the chalk answer of the 2 previous guards that have started a lot of games for the Cats and Jizz and Day-Day?
I'm going to switch it up. Although I do have as my secondary what Lily just mentioned with Celestine in there. Hear me out here. I might be giving Kirk Kriisa a little bit too much credit here, but I just love that he is just a true facilitator. He doesn't need to jack up 15 shots a game. So I'm thinking Kriisa at the 1, Day-Day Thomas at the 2, Buck Harris at the 3, Baba 4, Cham at the 5. Now, the reason I'm taking Jizzle out, and we love Jizzle. This isn't about him declaring for the draft. I've gotten over it. It's no big deal, Jizz. But he could be a massive spark plug for that second unit and be just the flat-out go-to guy. And I know Abayev would be another guy in there too, and that's definitely something to consider as far as guys that want the rock in their hands. But it's hard for me to put Sincere Harris on the bench, just being an all Big 12 defender. Like, I feel like you got to get him in there somehow. And Day-Day Thomas, if he holds up shooting over 40% from 3, then you got Kriisa as a good three-point shooter as well. And Baba and Cham are no slouches in that department too. Because I do have PTSD about the spacing. Like, all these lineups, I'm trying to figure out how to make sure the lane isn't just clogged up with 4 dudes. You know what I mean? So it's an interesting one. I feel like that'll change about 55 times.
Got to start with
Celestine
defense,
too.
right? You got to start with defense in terms of putting Buck in there, because you can go with that offensive punch off the bench. But I think the lineups that, and granted, I just put Sincere in there starting, but Sincere's got to play with either one of Celestine and Sean, whichever one's the better spacer at all times, right? Like, not that we really have any other threes that we could go to from my knowledge.
I thought I was going to be completely with Houdini there, but we switched up towards the end. I'm going with Kerr at the 1. I agree. I think Kirk Kriisa is probably the best point guard on the team, and also I think he's making the most money at the guard spot on the team. I don't know the numbers for, well, I don't know the numbers for any of them, but there's rumors that Kirk Kriisa is making upwards of over $1 million. So I'm going to go. I don't think he's coming here. They're going to give somebody over $1 million and have him coming off the bench. I could be wrong, because they might be doing that with Sean Abayev as well. But anyway, Kirk Kriisa at the 1. I'm going to put Jizzle at the 2, and then Sean Abayev at the 3. But you guys might be talking me out of Jizzle and Sean in the same lineup, because they are both ball dominant. But of course, I'm going to go Baba and Cham at the 4 and the 5. I think those are the 2 locks. I don't think anybody else is a lock. But my favorite lineup, that was my prediction for starting. My favorite would be switching out Day-Day for Jizzle. I think that'd be the best lineup in my opinion. So good. That's a good little, predicament we have.
If you want the facilitating, then I guess you could go Kerr, you could go Sincere, you could go Abayev, and then you could go maybe Celestine and Cham to give you a little shooting there. Because with Cham, you can really mix and match these lineups, you would think, with the rim protection that he provides. If anyone's beating their man off the dribble, he's going to be waiting there in the lane, to where the 2 twin towers thing that we've tried in the past, we'll see how that works. It's all going to come down to what Baba Miller's skill is like. And based off what we've seen from some tape and what we've heard, I think he's pretty skilled. I think he's good enough to keep you honest with his perimeter game. And maybe that's where his bread is buttered for the most part. So we'll find that out soon. Anything else in the mailbag that's important to get to, Niehaus? I know we're recording this late. I know that it was kind of just a sprung up show to get some content out there.
Sure, real quick on a lineup. I just thought of this. Tell me if I'm crazy here. If Abayev can get that handle under control a little bit as the season progresses, a Jizzle at the 1, Abayev at the 2, Celestine at the 3, Baba and Cham. That's a lengthy ass lineup the ball handling is certainly the issue right there with what we saw just in the McDonald's All-American game. It didn't look like his handles were very tight and that Jizzle would be the primary ball handler, but that's a ton of scoring and a lot of shooting too. So, I mean, I think that's an interesting one too.
I was going to mention that, Houdini, like just Sean and Celestine were two that nobody really mentioned together, but those are 2 6'7" sharpshooters that we could have on the wing. We haven't had that in forever. I'm not going to be crying to my dad, against Bethune-Cookman saying that we got the best shooting I've ever seen anymore.
Yes, you will. Give it time.
I've learned my lesson there, but those are two that I would like to see on the floor together. Nobody said that other than
let me fire off a defensive lineup here real quick since we're still going here. I'm going to go backwards though. Cham, Baba, Harris, Day. And I'm going to say Kerr Kreese at the point in that lineup because he can spread the floor a little. And I know he's not a great defender or a good one. He's probably just average, but he has that edge, like that physical edge, that leadership. That could be like a closing lineup. If
that was my starting lineup, Lily.
Oh, was that really?
That was my starters.
Yeah. If you're up like 6 points with 2 minutes left, like run that lineup out and kill him, man. Like, I'd be fine with starting that too. Honestly, that's fun to me. But the offense might not be good. Worth seeing. We'll definitely see it.
So we got 2 more questions that weren't already answered by the first 20 minutes. But this one I'm just going to ask Lily only because it's a quickie. Is this the year we're getting – first off, that question earlier was by Noah J.S. Neal. So thank you for the question. Now, since he takes, is this the year we're getting new football jerseys? Isn't the deal with BSN done and it's officially Nike? Lily, do you know that?
Yeah, the deal does start on July. First day of August or first day of July. We are still BSN right now. So all that stuff Xavier fans are saying, it's on our jerseys, but we're still BSN, right? We are officially Nike now, so all that's gone, and I expect to see new football jerseys this fall. So I don't know exactly like if they're going to be crazy different or anything like that, but I think it's going to happen. Hopefully we find out soon. That'd be sweet.
What if we did the blocks on the football jerseys? Just like screw it.
We are Nike instead of Jordan, so I feel like it won't, but
and it's a basketball thing. You got to keep
that'd be
it
like
sacred,
a sweet
right?
alternate,
like if
right?
Satterfield ran the program into the ground, I don't think the football program has enough history to where the blocks would be sick.
Yeah,
after
like 4-8,
after 9 straight misses on the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
We need those. We need those like tribal prints that we used to have in like the 90s when Jimbo Fisher was coaching on the sidelines. Do you guys know what I'm talking about around the collar? It was like
no,
the weird
but I kind of
print.
like the triangles that they pulled out, the Lindner triangles that they pulled
Most
out
people
for
hate those
homecoming
triangles.
and the gold helmets or whatever. That was interesting.
That's a hot take from Chuck because, like Lily said, a lot of people were not fond of those. I
was
Screw 'em.
okay with
Beauty's
them.
in the eye of the
I was
beholder.
fine.
Let them live.
I liked them too.
I'm glad that we got this cleared up because you remember this was like 6 months ago, Lily, that I shot in the group text. I was like, hey, somebody tell me because I'm getting bullied right now by Norwood guys claiming like, you guys aren't even a Jordan school. It's a poverty. Yeah, it's a poverty program. You're with BSN. So I replied like, Lily's never been wrong. And then they send me this article and I'm like, oh, shit. They're like, you're working with Stephen Barry's or some shit, dude. I'm like, oh, my God, we are. We're doing it. So I'm glad we got this cleared up.
I wish we were working with them. That was a great story.
That was my bad, Houdini.
Yeah, anyway. Letterman jackets from Stephen Barry's. They were literally a chicken teriyaki 6-inch from Subway is more expensive than a Letterman's jacket from Stephen Barry's in 2006.
$7.99 t-shirts, any college you want. All right, Max
Starberries.
Yeah. Max Summers. This is an interesting one. Any concern that an awful 4-8 football season that leads to Satterfield getting fired could lead to Wes not being fired, even with a missed tournament? Chuck, you're the Satterfield guy. You've said that you think Satterfield's leading us down a better path than Wes in the past.
I'm kind of going to die on this hill that I'm a Scott Satterfield guy. Screw it. I didn't like the hire, but I was willing to accept it. The end game adjustments are the issue that I have, and some of the calls that he has. Dude's got to be the worst 4th down play designer in the history of the game. I mean, how many 4th downs do we get stuffed on some run play up the middle? It seems like quite a bit. But dude, the culture has seemingly been there. Players that you think could get better opportunities come back. And he was ACC Coach of the Year one season in Louisville and left that program, frankly, better than he found it. Do I think he's great? Probably not. But do I think he's going to take this team to a bowl game this year? I do. So I don't think he's going to lose his job, man. I think we should be worried about the man in charge of the basketball program, which is crazy to say, but.
Well, that's the question. If he goes, if Satterfield goes 4-8, do you think that affects Wes not being fired with a missed tournament?
Hey, you want some clip bait right here? The football team's not going 4-8. Scott Satterfield's making a bowl game. Case closed.
All right,
that's my answer.
Lily or Houdini, what do you think? You think football has any bearing on basketball?
I don't know. This is like the classic, like, when you're at your job, just make sure you're not as shitty as the shittiest guy there, because they'll probably can him first. I mean, there's probably some type of psychology behind that. I don't think it'd be a wild thing for Wes Miller not to make the tournament in 5 years, regardless if the football team doesn't win a damn game. I think you'd have to get rid of him. It would be insanity. I don't know if I thought it was crazy that we're doing this right now, but we are year 5. You don't make the tournament. I think you have to move on. I think Wes might resign, honestly, if he doesn't make the tournament. He'd be like, you know what? This is on me. I screwed up. So no, I don't think it has any bearing. I hope not, at least.
Lily.
This is a tough one. I just don't think both of them will be bad, if that makes sense. Like, I think they're just, from what we can see right now with football, it feels like an upward trajectory. I know it didn't feel like it last year, but if you look on paper and the guys who returned, like, we should be a little better this year, right? Like, we should get 6-7 wins. In basketball, the roster makes a little more sense. Like, we've got a real 4 for once. We've got a 5 that's really good that could be a star. I think if football went 4-8, man, this is tough. Because, we're just starting to get these Big 12 payments this year. And now rev share is coming in. There's more money there. And we're not like one of the top 10 programs in the country, right? Like, we don't have money like Alabama. So there's other factors involved here. And I'm going to say I just don't think they both get fired, even if they're both horrible. That's just a guess, though.
I would say, if you asked me this in February, I would say Wes would keep his job just because everybody was talking about the buyout. But it seems like we have a $10 million basketball roster if you're just thinking about it. So I think I think you could fire both. I think you could. I don't think they're going to go 4-8. I don't. And I don't think they're going to miss the tournament. I hate to be this high on a Wes Miller team again, but I think we're going to be okay at football.
Oh, we're
hopefully
back.
7. we're back.
Extend
back.
Cunningham.
Oh gosh. Hopefully 7 wins in football, and just mark my words. We're making that basketball tournament. Cause if we're not, you'll never see me again, on this program.
Wow. You're sounding like me now.
Like, you'll never see me on this program again. Like, I just don't think both are possible. I honestly, after this transfer portal period, I'm kind of back in on Wes. I hate to say it. I kind of am. He gets me every May. Chuck, conductor, hat back.
That's what he does, man. Right after the months of February, March, Izzo, Wes Miller. That's what he does. He wins May, and hopefully one of these days he wins in March, because as of right now, a crown win over DePaul is the best he has to his name, unless you want to say an NIT win over Bradley. Virginia Tech, huge win. So any last words, any objections, any errors or omissions from anyone, or should we say good night, good morning, or whenever you're getting this audio podcast, a farewell to our crowd and call it?
Well, shout out. I know you brought up Rothstein. I don't know if you guys saw that. Just shout out to him that he just ethered us on Twitter. He was right, but 2,251 days since we played in the NCAA tournament, the UC basketball program. So, yeah, shout out to Rothstein. Kirk Carissa is going to be a tough matchup at the 4 spot, apparently. So, yeah, we got to change that. I can't have Rothstein just killing us on Twitter, man. I'm done with it.
Chatterbox Bearcats, everyone. Niehaus, you look like you got
Yeah.
something for the road.
Friday night crosstown shootout. I don't know if that happened after your guys' last show, but I personally love it. I think it's a horrible idea for the city of Cincinnati, just considering everybody's going to be, drinking and angry. At least half the city's going to be angry, but I love it. I think a Friday night crosstown shootout's awesome.
The night games are always the best. The day ones are the ones that feel like, although this last year was pretty awesome during the day, but aside from that, feels like the day ones are always the ones where since he's down like 16-2 to start it, and the night ones are the Troy Copain moments and the Jihad Muhammad hitting the 3-pointer to go into OT. Granted, they lost that game. The Lance Stevenson double OT, again, lost that game, but you get the point. Those are some of the classics as compared to the day ones. They've been throwaways over the year, if my memory serves me correctly. Although the Cumberland year where he went off at home, that was a day game. So my point has been completely proven. Lily, anything for the road, or give me one of these if that's a show?
I got just a quick. We got Texas Tech tomorrow in baseball. We got to shout out the baseball Bearcats again. And if we win, we face the reeling West Virginia Mountaineers, who are the 1 seed, but they've been losing like crazy lately. So a little prone. And we've seen some people actually pick UC to win this tournament. So it is.
Let's go.
If you lose, you're out. There's no series, guys. This is a very winnable tournament. So lock in and watch some Bearcats baseball. It's on TV.
Chatterbox Bearcats will be there to break it down when the good stuff happens. For Lily, Houdini, Niehaus,